We were sitting on the side of the lake and we saw smoke on the horizon. We took a boat out and we ended up finding an island that was on fire. Some campers had been on the island the night before and they hadn't tended to their fire well enough that night, and it ended up getting out of hand and taking over the entire island. Island fire itself is basically about things in your life that go unchecked and they end up taking over and consuming every aspect of your life. I have what I've come to understand as some sort of anxiety, and while I hadn't really paid much attention to that before and sort of written it off as slight discomfort in certain situations, it ended up taking over my life to the point where I couldn't function and I couldn't work and I couldn't interact with my friends. And I ended up really taking time out of my life that I could have been using for productive things. And so Island Fire is essentially about recognizing how things in my life went unchecked, and I was able to acknowledge what was going on and then move from there to reach a level of self-betterment.
I cannot work when I'm like this. I cannot feel the sun, the warmth, the glow.
We spent 3 days at Primary Sound Studios in Bloomington, Indiana, recording drums and auxiliary percussion.
Primary Sound Studios is a studio in Bloomington that we actually recorded the entirety of the Seaside EP at, aside from the guitars. And so we went back there to do the drums. And it's this really cool spot that's an old church that's since been converted into a studio.
It's owned by Jake Belser, and he's really built it into something special. It's really cozy inside, it's really nice, it's really comfortable to spend time there. And we spent 3 days there recording the drums for the record.
The drum sounds for the room mics is just incredible there. It's really huge sounding and very powerful.
The room that we set the drums up in has just an amazing room tone, and we were able to get some awesome sounds out of all the shelves to really fill out the record and make it sound huge.
Nathan engineered the drums this time around, and it was a really awesome experience. We blocked out 3 days to do all the drums in, and we spent the better portion of an entire day just fiddling around with different drums, different heads on different drums, different tunings, different sticks, different everything. Really just got the perfect sounds, in my opinion, for the record.
Our friend Mike Pattengale let us borrow his snare, and we just took the time to really adjust different tensions on different parts of the snare.
I think we went back and forth between 3 snares, trying them out with different heads, different tunings, and we landed on Mike's snare, adjusting the tension on the wires and trying out different EQs on it just to figure out the perfect snare for the album, because that was something that we believed was going to make a big impact.
I think in the room that it was in, it really filled out and made some really huge sounds on the record.
I think it's a pretty critical part of this album is just how powerful and punchy the snare sounds. So by the end of the first day, we had a couple of the tracks completely tracked out for drums. And we only ended up needing 2 of the days, and then the third day we just had to go back and tweak stuff and do auxiliary percussion and stuff like that. I think a lot of how the drums sound is a testament to how Nathan's grown as a producer, in that he was able to capture just this massive room sound that you get from Primary and bottle it into something that you can hear in your car. When I hear the record, it feels like I'm in the room and hearing, that snare echo around and wash around the rooms of, Primary. It's really cool. So the drum tones in this record I'm absolutely thrilled about, and the parts are some of my favorites I've ever written.
We were able to record the guitars at my home in Indianapolis. I've built a studio for myself that I use for mixing and mastering and also for engineering. I like to be really intentional with how I record my guitars. I like to make sure the performances were really perfect. I don't like to do a lot of editing and a lot of time aligning or anything like that. I really want the takes to be pure and genuine. As far as vocals, I like to be very particular with my delivery and with my performance, and I think that I was able to be comfortable in my own home where I wasn't surrounded by other people and I didn't have other people listening to me lock in these takes. The first 2 songs on the record were the first 2 songs that I ended up recording. I spent the whole day recording the guitars. Afterwards, I was listening back and there was something that just felt a little weird. The strings that I was using throwing out the tone a little bit, so I ended up deleting all of that day's work and just starting from scratch with a new pair of strings just so that I could get something that I was happy with. I think it really benefited the record that I didn't settle for something that was less than what I was happy with. I think it was important to start over with a new set of strings and really Yeah. There's a lot of bands that will go into a studio and they'll spend maybe a month writing, and then they'll come out with what ends up being the record. And while I'm really impressed by that, I think that's really cool for a lot of bands to be able to do. For myself, that feels almost insincere. I don't think that I could come up with 11 songs in a month that felt like they were cohesive and also true to where I am in life. These songs have been very encompassing of my experience in the past 3 years, and I've really been able to understand a lot about myself. I feel like from an artistic standpoint, they're very genuine, and I think they really express things that I've experienced in my own life personally in a lyrical way, but also things that I've experienced musically.
There's been so much time and energy and consideration put into every component of this recording. It's something that I think a lot of people are going to connect to. I genuinely love it, and I know other people are going to love it too. This isn't a temporary album that's going to have a short product cycle and sort of meet a trend and then drop off in 5 years when X genre is no longer popular. This is certainly a time-tested album, and the fact that it took 3 years from start to finish to put out, I think, means something. And the fact that those songs, the initial demos from 3 years ago, those songs are still exciting to me. I think that speaks to the longevity of the record itself. So I'm excited just to watch the legacy of this record unfold and to get it in people's hands and see their reactions and just let other people hear what we've been working on for so long.
I think I spent a lot of time focusing on self-betterment with my writing on this record, and I think that's something I want people to take out of this. I want people to be focused on being better and not settling for who they are, but instead striving to be something more.